All right, we're live, and I'll put the countdown for 60.
Everybody to the very first Raiders Coast to Coast show. What we're going to be doing on here is we're going to be recapping the game of the week and then previewing the game coming up the next weekend. So before we get started, first, my name is Jeff.
I'm Nathan, otherwise known as LV Raider 10.
So what we're going to do is real quick, we're just going to give you a little bit of a background on each of us here. So as far as myself, I'm on the East Coast over in Rhode Island in the New England area. Been a fan since 1976, roughly through the good and the bad times. The current president of the New England Raider Booster Club. Some of you may be familiar with the club from some of our interactions at some of the tailgates that we've gone to in the past as far as hosting or helping hosting tailgates.
Yes, sir. So basically, I've been a Raider fan my whole life. I was born into it. I'm in LA. Besides my name being LV Raider, I am currently in LA. I was born into being a Raider fan. Been one my entire life. I've seen a lot more bad than probably a lot of other people have. They were good when I was young, but I was a little bit too young when I was when they were good. So hopefully we can go ahead and see a lot more good from here moving forward.
Yeah, and anybody that joins the channel comes in, just feel free to comment anything. We'll interact with you as much as we can. If you have questions, we'll answer any questions, or if you want to just add something to the show, go for it. We'll try and answer any questions and get you involved along with us. So on that note, I'm gonna pass it over to my partner here.
Yes, sir. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a look back at the Chiefs and Raiders game. It was a pretty close game. The Raiders ended up getting a loss. The Chiefs got 27. The cheaters. Yeah. The Chiefs won 27-20. But yeah, the Raiders were right into it up until at least the fourth quarter. I want to go ahead and start with probably the biggest position on the football field, and that is quarterback. And of course, the Raiders have had a lot of problems at quarterback recently. Gardner Minshew, of course, started this game. Aiden O'Connell, of course, was hurt the prior week against the Rams. He has a broken thumb. So Minshew actually, as you can see here, did pretty decently. 24 for 30, 209 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But of course, he had the fumble that was very costly against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter that ended up getting a loss. Um, so how do we feel about Minshew? I mean, he had a good game, but
He did.
Desmond Ritter was, of course, in for one play. I know a lot of people still want to see Desmond Ritter. Antonio Pierce said that it's going to be Minshew until he loses a spot, essentially. So how do you feel about Minshew?
Again, Mitchell didn't have that bad of a game. I mean, his stat line was pretty good. The fumble hurt. That ridiculous slide that he did when he was running for the first
Yeah.
down, 2 yards shy, that hurt. I don't get why he just didn't put his shoulder down and just dive for the 2 yards. That stopped that series right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other than that, he didn't play that bad. He still can't run worth anything. Like I've said it before on some other shows, he reminds me of being in New England. I used to see it all the time, obviously, because it was the only team on. But he reminds me of Drew Bledsoe when he used to
Okay.
run. It just looks like he's wearing concrete blocks on his shoes. So he can't get out of his own way. So it just, like I said, it wasn't a bad stat line game. It's just sometimes the play breaks down and he just doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, definitely. I think
And
Minshew has more ability to, make a play happen, but sometimes he gets in his own way, like you were saying, and he tries to hold on to the ball for a little bit too long. And I'm kind of
mhm.
just yelling at the TV, like, throw the ball or get out of the pocket or I don't know, something, whatever it may be at that time, man. And he has a lot of interceptions. I'm not sure what it is exactly right now, but I can't be wrong to say he's close to the most interceptions in the league right now.
Yeah, I can look that up while we're in here. Well, I mean, the other thing too with him, he's it's the offensive line too that doesn't help. You know,
Yeah.
he's not getting the chance for the receivers to get down the field and um, let the play develop. He's got 8 interceptions this year, by the way, and he's only got
Okay.
6 TDs. So
Yeah, that's terrible.
in six games he started, he's six TDs and 8 interceptions.
Right.
It's just
Yeah, as you were saying, the offensive line, I do like our rookies in DJ Glaze and Jackson Powers Johnson. I feel like they've been pretty good, but besides them, it seems like everyone else has been having a pretty rough year so far. Colin Miller's been having a rough year. Andre James had a tough time with Chris Jones this past week. But yeah,
well, I mean
besides them,
that's to be understood too. I mean, Chris Jones
of
is
course, yeah.
just he's elite. There's no two ways about it. I mean, he makes a
Oh, for
huge
sure.
difference on that defense.
Yeah, definitely. But so transitioning from there, talking about the offensive line here, let's move over to what they have a big part in the rushing attack. And Alexander Madison's stat line here does not look good.
Nah,
14 carries for 15 yards, 1.1 yards per carry. And I'm not sure if it's a combination of whether it's Alexander Madison being a bad back. I mean, he runs pretty hard for most of the part, but this week he just was not. We're not good so far. Is that Alexander Madison or is that the offensive line? What do you think that is?
I think it's partly it's not him because he's got the vision to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
He's shown it in the past. It's just I think it's the scheme we're running.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to a zone system like we're doing right now, if we went to more of a power blocking, it might be a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more effective. I'm not saying he's
Definitely.
going to turn into a superstar that way, but he's going to get a hell of a lot more than 15 yards in an entire 60-minute game.
Definitely.
But I think it's also the lack of ingenuity in the play calling. How often do you see us run
Mm-hmm.
a play action, or a decent screen? Our
Right.
screens tend to be 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and it never goes beyond those 5 yards. If they're lucky, we get
Exactly.
back to the line of scrimmage. Occasionally, one might break, and you get a decent run out of it, or run after the catch. But still, as far as him running, it just seems like every time we run the ball, it's up the middle, up the middle, up the middle, and we get nothing.
Yeah.
For our set plays, it seems like they're scripted right from the get go. Which is understandable. I mean, a lot of teams come out with a set 10 plays, and that's what
Right.
they go with, and then they adapt from there. But every single game, it's run up the middle, run up the middle. Then try and pass. At that point, the other team knows that you're going to pass it next because now it's third down and 10 or third down and 12. so they know you're going to throw the ball,
Right.
so, come out in the first play and just drop one over the middle to Bowers, move the ball, get some yardage to get some spark in the offense, and that helps your running game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can't if you can't show some life on offense early in the game to give the defense the chance to respect you. Because if they don't respect you, they're just going to stack the line because they know you're not going to run it because you
Yeah.
can't. And they know if they bring enough guys and come through that line, they're stopping any type of play that's going to develop down the field with your receivers.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
the other problem. So as far as his running ability, I don't think it's him necessarily. We definitely need a better running back. I think losing
Yeah.
Jacobs hurt bad,
Yeah, for sure.
but even him, I don't think he would be doing very well that great for us right now because our line can't block. It can't open the holes. You know,
Yeah.
Zeus was a failed experiment from the start. I mean, it
Yeah.
looked promising during preseason and during practice. The training camps, but he's not the answer either, unfortunately. So we've
No.
got some holes.
Yeah, we definitely do have some holes. And I just kind of want to piggyback off that as well. Like you were saying, I do believe it is the scheme. Luke Getzey has not shown he can be a good play caller, let alone just a play caller at all.
Yeah,
Like the biggest one that stands out in this game for me personally is on at right after the momentum of getting an interception off of Patrick Mahomes and taking it down to the 3 yard line. We run the ball. Madison gets up to like to the 1-ish yard line, and then on third down, eventually gets a third down. We run like a zone to the outside or almost like a sweep when the previous 2 plays the interior defensive line had so much penetration. So I don't understand going horizontal to the line rather than trying to just pound it up the middle. But yeah, I don't know about Luke Getzey as a play caller. I know it was either today or I believe it was earlier this week. Antonio Pierce had said already that he's going to be continuing play calling duties for the foreseeable future. So let's talk about Luke Getzey just a little bit. I know we touched on it a little, but yeah. So let's see. Luke Getzey, to me, it looks like he struggles after the scripted plays. Like how you were saying, everyone comes out with the
yeah.
scripted plays. The Raiders are good offensively in the first quarter, but post the first quarter, they're like one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Um, so how do you think, or what do you think is the answer to his play calling? Is it him? Is it? I know Antonio Pierce said that also. It's been more of an execution thing offensively. What do you think it is for the Raiders offensively?
Uh, it's definitely his play calling. So he's what I've seen through my experience of teams that he's coached. He's a he likes pocket passing type quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is you need an offensive line that's going to be able to protect the quarterback to do that.
Yeah.
With this scheme and the way our line breaks down so fast, it's just not going to work. You need a quarterback that can be quick on his feet, quick in his head to make a decision whether to throw the ball away or make a break for it.
Yeah.
I've never been one to say I really like scrambling type quarterbacks because if you look through the history of scrambling quarterbacks, they tend to get injured more often, obviously, because they're putting their body on the line as soon as they leave that pocket.
Right.
Because as soon as you leave that pocket, you become a running back. You're fair game. And if
Mm-hmm.
somebody wants to take a chance to take out a player, that's the perfect time to do it. You know, so that's why I'm usually not one to sit there and say we need a scrambler, we need a scrambler. It's nice to have one that does have that ability. So when you've got a scheme like he runs, you need to make sure that you've got the line that's going to help you. So he's not even. It doesn't even seem like he adapts to what's going on in the game.
Exactly.
He's still sticking to this is my plan, this is what we're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
then how much of that is also AP's fault for saying, hey, listen, you got to make a change here. Something's not working. You know, I'm not,
Agreed.
he's AP's a defensive guy,
Mm-hmm.
so he doesn't have the offensive sense behind him as far as running offensive plays. He's more of a defense. and it shows just on how the team plays on defense too. Um, so he needs to step in and say something against you, like, listen, no, he could be saying it. Who knows? We
Right.
don't we're not privy to that information, but
Right.
it's like you need to see that there's some sort of adaptation going on in the game. Change your game plan a little bit. Just make something happen. This is like a perfect meme where you see a stick figure holding a stick, poking a rock or poking something, saying,
Do
do
something, huh?
something, do something.
Yeah.
This is what this offense looks like. It's like every time
Yeah.
I watch it, I want to hit the TV with a stick and say, do something. This is
Yep.
ridiculous. You
Exactly.
know, this is just it's horrible.
Yeah, I think the
I'm lost
biggest
for words.
Yeah, the biggest issue I had with Getty in this past game was right before the half. The Raiders had, I think, one timeout. They had probably like a minute 50, minute 40 left in the half, and they run the ball three times, or they run the ball twice. On the
Yeah,
third one, there was so much pressure. Minshew had to roll out, and he had to throw the ball away. Give the ball back to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they end up going down the field, and I think they get a field goal at the end of the half, and we go down 7 in the half, rather than trying to at least get down the field, get a field goal. I think we'll be down 1 at that point. Um, yeah, him not wanting to push the ball is kind of a big thing right there, or it's situational, but for that one especially was not wanting to push the ball downfield was kind of big for me. But let's go ahead and pivot to the defensive side of the ball, where actually I think the Raiders are doing pretty decently. Uh, so if you see here, Mahomes against Las Vegas, 27 for 38, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then an interception. Um, Mahomes had a pretty, I mean, one of his better games, I believe, this year. But the defense looked to be able to stop the run, which I
uh-huh.
know they have been doing well against this year. And I mean, Mahomes, for some reason, and him and Travis Kelce always seem to turn it on against the Raiders. So it was kind of a given he was going to put up some kind of points. But let's talk about our defense a little bit. We were able to stop the run. We got a big interception on Patrick Mahomes, and then they really were the ones to keep us in the game. How do you feel about the defense so far?
I think the defense is playing up to the level that they were towards the end of the year last year. After
Mm-hmm.
AP took over, the defense went up.
Yeah.
They went up, and the offense went. So the defense, I felt good about the defense going into the start of this year, especially when we picked up
Yeah.
Wilkins.
Same.
Unfortunately, with him getting hurt, his presence would have really been helpful in this game, because I think we
Oh,
would have won that
definitely.
game had he been in this game, had he
Right.
been available to play.
And Marcus
Now,
Epps.
yes, that interception by Mooring, gets it down to the 5 yard line. Defense gave our offense a chance to do something, and
Exactly.
they didn't. The defense is keeping us in a game, and especially against the Chiefs, whether it's at home or not. I mean, as well as I do, by watching the games. You've been to a game, you see how the fan base is. So
Yeah.
even though we're at home, it still sometimes feel like it's an away game against the
Right.
Chiefs. So again, the two-time defending Super Bowl champs. You know, for us to hold them to 27 total points, and Mahomes, his stat line wasn't that bad either, like Minshew's. Difference is he had an interception. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw something that Mahomes has had an interception in every game this
Every
season,
game. Yeah. Every
every
game so
single
far.
game.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not playing up to his normal level either.
No.
So this was a prime chance for us to beat a team that we should have beaten.
Yeah.
We
We should
should have
have.
knocked them off the unbeaten list. We had the chance. The defense gave us that chance.
Yeah.
Max is Max. He plays out of his mind. But when you watch these games, you see how many times he's being held, and it's disgusting. And they're not
So
getting called.
many.
Even the ones that do get called on holding, I don't even think some of them are on against the player that's going holding him back. I think it's a different defender that's getting drawn the penalty against them.
Yeah.
It's not even they're not even calling it on Max at all, and it's so blatantly obvious. Spillane, another one. He's a beast. I
Oh
almost
yeah.
when he got hurt, was it this week or last week?
Yeah. It was this week.
It was this week, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When he got hurt, I was like, oh, that's it. There goes our heart and soul in the middle of that defense. We
Mm-hmm.
lose him. we're going to lose the game, But then when I saw him come back out, I'm like, oh, thank God, you
Yeah.
know. So our secondary's not bad. And I think the reason they're not so bad this year, too, is because secondary was our weakness going into last season, too. But when you don't need to have superstar cornerbacks. I know everybody wanted us to get that kid Gonzalez a couple of years ago, and they wanted us to
Hmm.
get who's that kid from Cincinnati that just came out this year? I forget who it was. Oh, there was another cornerback. Everybody's like, "Oh, we need to get this guy. We need to get this guy." You don't have to
Hmm.
have superstar cornerbacks. You just have to have serviceable, good secondary guys. Because if your defensive ends and your interior linemen are doing what they're supposed to do, which is get into the quarterback's face and disrupt the play, anybody can cover anybody out in the secondary at that
Yeah.
point because the play's breaking down and they're not running their regular routes. They're just guessing where they need to go to hopefully have the quarterback get the ball to you. So our defensive front is still solid, even though Wilkins isn't there. Um, what's his name? Wilson. He actually had a decent game Sunday too. He's starting to
Right.
step up.
Yeah,
So now
definitely.
if we can get Wilkins back, and along with Max and Wilson, I mean, the front is not a bad setup. At the beginning of the season, everybody's like, "We should get rid of him. We should get rid of him." It's like, give him a chance. Now he's getting his chance because he's out there on almost every play now in defense.
Right.
Mainly because of injury issues, but he's developing. He's getting better. He's only second year in the league.
Hmm.
I think he's good. You just got to give him a chance.
I think so as well. And also another one is I think a lot of people forget. We were expecting a big year from Malcolm Kuntz, and we
Yeah,
lost him prior to the entire season. So missing Kuntz, Wilkins is out now. We
yeah.
had a Divine Diablo out for a stretch of games. Marcus Epps is done for the year. So there's been, despite having all of those injuries, I think our defense has really been held together quite well, especially with Spillane and Crosby, being the heart and soul of that defensive side.
Oh yeah. Without them, we'd be done. If we lose either one of those two on a long term basis, defense is trash. Even if it's not Max, and Max is still in there every game.
Hmm.
One guy can't do it.
Oh yeah, definitely
One
not.
guy can't do it. Without Spillane out there and Max, or vice versa, Spillane and without Max, our defense would be trash. Because
Yep.
nobody will respect us at that point because you don't have Max coming in off the edge rush.
Right.
So
Exactly.
who's going to take over that type of drive and just intensity that Max has? Nobody. There's nobody on the roster that can do what he does.
Right.
Absolutely
Exactly.
nobody. We don't have that second guy right now, especially with Wilkins out. But granted, Wilkins was a defensive tackle, not an end.
Right.
He's in there to disrupt the middle and to push the center back into the quarterback, or the guy, whoever he's lined up on.
Right.
But I'm still impressed with the defense. Again, they're
Yes.
giving us chances
Definitely.
to win, but our offense isn't taking 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 the freebies that the defense are giving them and
Right.
and turning it into something. We can't live on field goals.
Yeah. Definitely.
Thank God
Our
we got
defense has
golfers. So
our defense has kept us in basically every single game except for really like the Panthers. Um.
yeah,
Yeah, because in the Chargers game in the beginning of the year, our defense really stepped up in a couple of key possessions. In the Ravens game, I think they won us that game essentially.
oh yeah,
And almost every game that we've been pretty close in has been our defense who's been keeping us in. And hopefully our defense can go ahead and keep us in this game, which is coming up, the Bengals. The Bengals actually struggled last week
this is a
against the
completely winnable
Eagles.
game.
Exactly. Yes, the Bengals have been a struggling team. Of course, they have Joe Burrow, who is a top quarterback in this league, but he's having a quiet, good year. And against the Eagles, he put up 26 for 37, 234 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Burrow has been having a quiet MVP like season. Honestly, I know a lot of people have been putting him as their dark horse MVP candidate.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, the Bengals have been struggling. I believe they've won 3 games? Yeah, I believe they won 3 games now. And we head over to Cincinnati, and take on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Um, yeah, tell me about the Bengals. What do we think? How do we attack this essentially?
Well, first of all, Burrow doesn't turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
So he's only got 3 interceptions on the season. So he's 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Um, he doesn't run as much as he has in the past. So right now they've got a much better running game than some of the teams we've already played.
Right.
So a combination between Burrow and their running game, it keeps the defense honest because we can't stack the line because his passing with especially with Jamar Chase with Chasen out there, you know, I know Higgins is still injured. I don't know if he's coming back this week. I know
Yeah,
he
I
was
think
out
he's
last week.
questionable right now. I think they're saying that he might play, but yeah,
Yeah,
he's still questionable.
with their running game, it keeps, like I said, it keeps defenses respectful. I mean, you got Chase Brown's at 359 yards rushing on the season. Zach
Mm-hmm.
Moss is up to 242.
Yeah.
So I mean, these guys, they know how to run the ball, and if we try and stack the line to get at Burrow, the running game will kill us and not only the running game, but as far as the wide receivers go, Chase is still one of the best in the league. Once
Yeah,
if Burrow
definitely.
gets him the ball, he's gone. We're not going to be able to play these guys like we did the Chiefs.
Yeah, for sure.
Max is still going to be Max and do what he can to get in the backfield. Hopefully, he can get some sacks on him. It'd be nice if we get an interception. If we can pull an interception out of this, that makes all the difference in the world right there. Is to
Right.
stop that offense. But this is still a winnable game, and more so on our offensive side, it's a winnable game. You know, because the defense is good, but I don't think they're lights out on their defense.
Right.
And they're beatable. They're definitely beatable.
Oh, for sure.
They're not
I
the same
believe.
Cincinnati Bengals they were a few years ago. That's for
Oh
sure.
no,
Not
no,
even
they are
close.
not. I believe I seen that Trent Brown is out. He might be done for the year. So that's one big offensive lineman for the Cincinnati Bengals that
Yeah,
we can possibly take advantage of. Like we said, Tyree Wilson has been doing better and better each week. Of course, Max Crosby is going to be Max Crosby. So hopefully we can take advantage of being strong on the outsides defensively. Um, but yeah, we have to go ahead and contain Joe Burrow. Like I said, he's been pretty good this year, and then Jamar Chase is a good receiver. I think we do have one of the most underrated secondaries in the league. I know Nate Hobbs is one of the best corners, and so is Jacorian Bennett has been one of the best, two of the best cover corners in the NFL so far this
yeah.
season. Jack Jones, I mean, he's good. He's a big play waiting to happen. It's just sometimes he makes some boneheaded plays. He doesn't want to
He's a
tackle
big hitter too. He's a big hitter. He's the guy that's
for
going to
sure.
knock the snot out of somebody.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
if he
Yeah.
gets a shot to take Chase out, he'll take him out.
Oh, for sure.
That's the type of player he is. He's got that old school Raider mentality in him.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
definitely you see that in him. He's
Hmm.
a hothead. I mean, he's quick to get into a fight.
Yeah.
But he's still a good player. I mean, I don't mind him back there as long as he doesn't cost us any stupid penalties. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Penalties
Definitely.
can kill us. We've been actually pretty decent this year with penalties.
Right.
2 weeks ago, I think was one of our worst games as far as penalties.
Yeah. For
I
sure.
forget what we had for penalties this past weekend. I didn't look that up. I wasn't positive on that. But penalties, they're not like we're not like we were in the past where we were like the most penalized, and that was like a big thing we could take away from every season. We always ended up being the most penalized team. Well, if you think about it, a lot of these penalties are for stupid shit. Like
Yep.
hitting out of bounds and doing dumb shit, you know, taunting, stuff like that. Those are dumb penalties. You know, those are the penalties that you look at and you go, "Are you kidding me?" It's like just get back in the huddle and shut up. You don't need to be
Yeah.
drawing there and getting taunting calls or personal fouls for dumb reasons.
Exactly.
That's what shoots us in the foot is when shit like that happens. But luckily this season it hasn't been that bad of an issue, thank God.
Yeah, last year when Antonio Pierce took over, he was the Raiders as a total was the least penalized team in the NFL. And
Yeah,
then so that's what we were expecting going forward into this season. And I think in the beginning of the year we had a little bit of problems with penalties. It's definitely tamed down a lot more recently. But yeah, we want to keep a disciplined team. Don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot like we have definitely in the past and what the Raiders are known for. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and let's look at the Cincinnati defense. So the Cincinnati D has allowed 25.4 points allowed to opponents, which is good for the 23rd in the league. They allowed
Mhm.
358.6 yards per game. That's 24th in the league. And then their red zone percentage is rather low, which means whenever a team gets into the red zone, they score a touchdown, which is 66.6% of the time. Considering that our offense is probably towards the bottom half of this league, this stat line for their defense looks favorable for us. Um, I think we can take advantage here is going to be in the passing game. Jacoby Myers looked really good coming back off of injury. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to get Trey Tucker more involved. Honestly, I think his speed can help us a lot. And then, of course, Brock Bowers has been arguably the best tight end in the NFL.
There's no denying that. Not at
Oh,
all.
oh, for sure. So, how do you think offensively that we should attack the Cincinnati defense?
Well, again, this is where Getsy needs to adapt to the situation. You know, you've got a defense that's still good. Like their ends are decent, but they're no Jones from KC last week. You
Right.
know, so you have that ability to open the field up a little bit more, hopefully this weekend. Getting Brock involved early and often is a key, and not have it fall off like it did last week. Third quarter, I think he was invisible.
Yeah,
He didn't really do anything again until the fourth quarter. I'm not
exactly.
saying get keep doing what you've been doing and giving him like almost 15 to 20 target range.
Hmm.
I mean, if you want to and he catches them all, that's awesome because that means there's a good chance we won the game.
Give him the
But
rookie reception already.
yeah,
I mean, honestly, might as well.
but something where he's coming across the middle, just like all the tight ends that we ever play do the same thing to us. They come across the middle, and it seems, especially Kelsey. Kelsey kills us no matter when we
Yeah.
play him, no matter how bad. This was his getting right game this past weekend.
Hmm.
We've never, or not say never, but for years we have not been able to handle certain tight ends in this league. And
Right.
Kelsey always has a good game against us. It's time for us to do that because we've got a physical threat with Bowers. Because Bowers is,
Hmm.
yes, he's a tight end, but he's basically almost like a wide receiver. Now,
Oh,
don't
for
get me
sure.
wrong, when we had Myers is good. Man, he's good, but he's doesn't have. I don't think he's got the same talent as Bowers.
No, definitely
Bowers is
not.
a different breed.
For
When
sure.
we took him at number 13, I was extremely happy with that because number one, he was the best talent available at the time of our pick.
Yes.
It was a no-brainer because
Hmm.
if we would have taken a quarterback at number 13, we would have been reaching for that
Yeah.
quarterback. That's
Big
a
time.
quarterback that we could have taken in the second round and beyond.
Hmm.
You don't pass up on talent like this kid, and he's proven it so far.
Exactly.
He's just lighting it up right now. So getting him involved early on coming across the middle plays, even that, I forget which game it was now. They're all blended together to me now because they're all been so crap. Where like the first play was like a nice deep pass to him on the
Oh, that
sideline.
was the Broncos.
Yeah, then that's what it was. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because then after that, we just shit the bed the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Uh, in having Myers and Tucker in that stretch the field, first play, throw one deep, do
Hmm.
something, open it up that way. It'll
Yep.
get the Bengals on their heels, and they'll be like, whoa, wait a minute. We weren't expecting this. We were expecting to run up the middle for negative yards or 1 yard, which
Exactly.
is our forte.
Hmm.
So they do that. Now the Bengals will be like, all right, we got to play our defense a little bit different here you
Yeah.
know. And I still want to see Ritter get in for some special plays that are geared for him.
Hmm.
I said it last week on Captain Jack's show. You know, um, I said it'd be nice if they have some plays developed just for him to use his athletic ability to get out there and make a play and spark some life into this team. And when
Yeah.
they brought him out, but then there was a false stop penalty on the offensive line, and they took him out, and he never came back in again. It's like because when he came running on the field, I was like, yes, finally, we're gonna maybe see something different. Nope, that ended that. It's like, are you shitting me? So it's like we got to stretch the field first. It's just like the old, you wouldn't probably remember this unless you watch any old videos and such of the Raiders. But there was a time where back when Biletnikoff and Branch were playing back in the
Hmm.
70s, that almost every time they would snap the ball in the first play, it would be attempt down the field to stretch the game out fast.
Yep.
Use your players' speed and ability to stretch the field and open up the game book earlier than what we've been doing. I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's like that playbook for Getsy is sealed shut.
Yeah,
It's like
definitely.
he's got his plays that he wants to run and doesn't do anything different.
Yeah.
Somebody, I saw somebody else on another show the other day said the one thing they noticed too is AP doesn't carry a Denny's menu in his hand like some of the other coaches do. They have
Mm,
a big plastic laminated sheet. You don't see
right.
him walking around with anything. He's got
Yeah.
his flag in his back pocket and his headset on, and I don't see him carry anything around.
Yeah.
So like he's got nothing for reference to look up and go, maybe we should do this. Well, maybe he should be telling Getty like, hey, let's try this play right here for a change. Let's mix it up.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah,
no, I
touching
want to see
on
us come out
go ahead.
early fast.
Yeah, I think we definitely should. And touching on the Brock Bowers thing too, I think this was the first week, talking about the Chiefs, that I really seen them double cover and actually like key in on Brock Bowers this week, which was big because we got Jacoby Myers back and he had some big third down conversions. He had
Mm-hmm.
some big receptions. So I think once we start getting our offense back, I mean, I know we haven't had Michael Mayer back in this entire season. I think if we had that two-headed monster like we were planning on for this whole season, I think that just benefits us more. And then of course Devontae Adams leaving, not getting a run game down, our offense has just been all over the place recently.
Well, I will tell you this. I honestly think even when Devontae was there, we weren't much better with him there.
Not much better,
Not
no.
helping the Jets much. I think he went from a decent situation to a worse position, a worse situation going to the Jets. I
Yep,
think that was his biggest mistake. He doesn't care. He's still getting paid. It doesn't matter to him. But it's like,
exactly.
you didn't improve your position or your situation. You went to your old boy, Rogers, but what do you have? Two catches this past weekend?
Yeah,
Even before
something
the week
really low like
before
that.
that, it wasn't a great game for him either.
Hmm.
So even the great Aaron Rodgers ain't getting you the ball, so not making any difference. And I said it before when they were talking about trading him, I'm like, fine, let him go, because not for nothing, I like Jacoby. I like Jacoby from the day we
So do
grabbed him.
I.
You
I
know,
like Jacoby Myers a
I
lot as
saw what
well.
he I saw what he could do here in New England with the Patriots, and I
Hmm.
knew he'd be a number one wide receiver because he was a number one wide receiver here in New England. And as
Hmm.
soon as we got that chance to grab him, as much as I hated McDaniels, at least he brought something good into us. He brought
Right.
Jacoby over because without Jacoby, our wide receivers would be I hate to say trash, but we wouldn't be that great on offense.
No, it would not
Because our
be.
other wide receivers, they're all small. They're
Yeah,
all
they
smaller
are.
guys.
DJ Turner small.
Yeah,
Tyre. Oh my goodness. I
Tucker.
can't think of his name. Tucker. Yeah, Trey Tucker is small. Yeah, they're all very small. Besides Jacoby Myers, but I've been seeing recently. Um, I've been seeing recently that the Jacoby Myers has been actually on the trade block. So what do we think about that? I've been seeing a lot of people saying, the Texans should maybe pick him up because uh Nico Collins has been out, and so has and Stephon Diggs just went down with the torn ACL, and they just have Tank Dell right now. I've been seeing the Raiders, since we've been losing a lot. A lot of people have been saying, hey, maybe Jacoby Myers is available. I actually just recently seen that. So what do we think about that?
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it because what are we going to get for him? First of all,
exactly.
if it's to the Texans, they're going to be in the thick of things with the playoffs. So if we get whatever pick we get for them, it's not going to be a good pick. It's not going to
Right.
be an early pick.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a later pick in a later round. you're not going to get what you got for Devon. You're not going to get a third round for him. You're going to get like a fourth at the best, maybe a
Yeah.
third. Depends on how desperate the Texans really are.
Yeah.
Um, if he's going to go to another team, I want him to go to a team that's going to finish shitty. Finish worse than us, hopefully, so we get a better draft pick. But again, it's still going to be, and I know draft picks are valuable. I know it's still going to be like a fourth round pick,
Yeah.
possibly a third. And
Yeah.
I'm just seeing what Jeff just posted here. It's need to use Minshew how the Colts did. And he did. He had a good year last year in Indianapolis playing for the
One
Colts.
game away from the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, but again, that's because he had an offensive coordinator that knew how to use his talent and build
Yeah.
around him, because you got to think about it. So you're the offensive coordinator for the Colts. You just drafted this rookie, this pure athlete, which I liked coming out of college.
So
I
did
liked
I.
Richardson. I would have hoped that we would have got him. But now
I
seeing
thought he
what
was
he's
gonna
doing
fall.
now, yeah, seeing what he's doing now, I'm not too crazy about it. He quit. He
Right.
quit on that team Sunday.
Yeah.
So you're the offensive coordinator in Indianapolis. You got this brand new flashy rookie. You build your offense around what the talent of this kid is, and you adapt to that. Then he goes down, and now any smart offensive coordinator is going to look and go, all right, so Minshew is going to be my starter now. I know what his abilities are based on film and what he's done in practice with us and training camp. So now it's time I'm going to change my game plan and we're going to adapt to his abilities and build the offense around him, just like we were doing around Richardson. Build the offense around him, which is what we're not doing as the Raiders. We're not building it around him.
No.
And the Colts did that, and they had a successful season. Granted, some people will say, well, it's not a success unless you win the Super Bowl. No, I agree, but it's also a success if you've been shitty for years and you finally get a guy that can possibly do something for you and bring you into that right direction and start that trend of trending up, get some wind, get some positive motion, and that's what Getsy's not doing.
Yeah.
He's not adapting the offense to the quarterback's ability. He wasn't doing it with O'Connell either, because if you watched any of the games, the same plays he was calling when O'Connell was in there is the same shit he's pulling while Minshew's in there. It's the same thing every week. Nothing
Yeah.
changes, you know. So that's why I want to see what's going to happen if he puts Ritter in, because I want to see if it changes with Ritter, which means, okay, maybe he's smartening up and he's putting plays in that fit Ritter's athletic ability and what he can do as a quarterback to help propel this team forward.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that with Minshew, you know.
Right.
It's just, and I agree with Jeff. I mean, that's what we need to do, but I guess he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's why the
Definitely.
bye week's coming up after this. I think if you're going to get rid of him, it's based on this weekend. If we lose
Right.
this game and our offense is worse than it was, if we play worse against these guys than we did against Kansas City on offense, then it's time to get rid of Getsy. That gives you 2 weeks before our next game. Get someone in there as the offensive coordinator. Throw out the goddamn playbook that Getsy had, and
Yeah.
let them come up with their own system based on the quarterbacks you've got in the locker room, and work from there. Make that change.
Yeah, definitely. Thinking talking about changes, the trade deadline we kind of touched on. We're talking about Jacoby Myers. Do you think anybody at the trade line would be able to help the Raiders? Is there anybody we have an eye on? Is there anybody you have an eye on specifically? Is there anything besides? I mean, I don't think we can get a quarterback at the
No,
trade
no, we're not
deadline.
going to get quarterback now.
Yeah.
Is there anything I think we need? Yeah, everything.
Are
Pretty
we
much.
sellers? Are we buyers at the deadline? What are we thinking?
I think you got to pick your poison there. You
Right.
know, if you're a buyer, um, it's it's going to have to be for draft picks. I mean, we got to look at the draft to
Yeah,
replenish this team
I think
with
so as
young
well.
blood. I mean, I know we're kind of a younger team right now, but you
Mhm.
need to replenish it with more younger blood. Get some
Yeah.
more talent in there. What you're going to get in free agency? I mean, if you look at free agency, I don't think personally there's anything special out there. I really don't.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I'm not caught up on who is going to be coming out as a free agent. But I know that it wasn't very like eye popping. Has it been?
Well, I'm talking
I've
like
just been.
what's available right now. Like
Oh,
there's
okay, I
not
got you.
there's nothing out there available right now as we speak for free agency that's probably worth anything.
Yeah. Right.
And it also depends on what other teams are willing to put up for for talent to be available for a trade.
Hmm.
It doesn't fit our need. On defense, if anything, yeah, with defensive end, another end to complement Crosby.
Hmm.
With some experience. Wilson's only 2 years in. So
Right.
yeah, with a defensive end, that I would go for that.
Yeah.
I think the linebacking core is decent. Spillane's leading that crew. I think you're good there. You get Wilkins back, we'll be okay. I don't know if he's coming back this year. I don't know how severe that injury was.
Yeah. I think he's done for the season. I don't think he's coming back this year.
So
I think it was a Liz Frank fracture. If I'm, I
see he's
think.
done, which
Yeah.
sucks. Which sucks. That would have made a huge impact.
Yeah.
I think we're okay on secondary. As far as needs, we definitely don't need tight ends.
Yeah.
Um,
That's for sure.
Offensive lineman we could use, and a running back, definitely a
Definitely.
running back.
Yeah. That's
I'm
where I was kind of leaning towards as well. Like we talked about the Texans a little bit earlier. If we do make a trade with the Texans, honestly, I think to get a young running back who hasn't really seen his potential this year because they brought in Joe Mixon, and I think that's Damian Pierce. I think Damian Pierce was a good running back. Uh, his his um his rookie year, I think he was a great running back his rookie year, but I don't know. He since they brought in Joe Mixon, I don't think that he's really shown his potential. Let's see another comment here. That's what the Raiders need to do. You have to play to your quarterback's strength, and the Raiders are not with Minshew right now. Doesn't help. Zamir is trash this season, and Madison is decent, but can't run the ball. Yeah, I completely agree. You know, like we were talking about earlier, that's really on Luke Getzey. Luke Getzey is not playing to the strengths of what the offense needs right now. We were coming into this year and we wanted to be able to establish the run to be a running team, that hard nose kind of tough mentality as a team. And I know that's what Luke Getzey was trying to do in Chicago as well, that he again did not have any um success with. And so once we got Luke Getzey, I was kind of like, I don't really know about this guy. But yeah, Zamir was a failed experiment. Alexander Madison, I think, does have actually a good motor. I think he does run the ball hard enough. And then if we're talking about right here, uh people out on the block, I think another receiver, and I've been seeing a lot of people asking for recently, is Hunter Renfro. Hunter Renfro to come back to the Raiders.
He
He
is
does not
still
have a
out there.
job right
Yeah, I
now.
forgot about him. Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of people say, "Let's go get Hunter Renfro back." And honestly, I love Hunter Renfro, and I think he can actually uh be great with his team, especially with us with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. I think adding Hunter Renfro would actually be pretty beneficial to this offense.
there's a kid Renfro that was would just basically put his body on the line every time.
Mhm.
He had no fear going over the middle. I equated him in under the first year with McDaniels. He appeared to me to be in the role of Amendola and
Yep.
Christ, who's the other kid, the other wide receiver they had, the one that came
Um,
up from Miami. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But that's the kind of role he played, was that small, short, little across the middle guy.
yeah.
Because he wasn't built. Did you ever see the picture of him standing next to? They put a picture up on once. It was a picture of DK Metcalf and
Oh,
then
yeah.
Hunter on the right side. Two different
Uh-huh.
photos, and they
Yeah.
said, believe it or not, these guys both play the same position. DK Metcalf is jacked. You see what he
Yeah.
looks like. He's huge. And
Yeah.
then you see this guy that just looks like your next door neighbor, freaking, uh, dad joke guy over here. That's what he
Yeah.
looks like. You wouldn't even know that they both play the same position unless you knew. You
Right.
know, I liked Renfro when he was there. for where we got him and what he did in his time playing for us on a regular basis, the kid was solid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, if he's still out there and he's healthy and doesn't have any major health issues, then I mean, he could help. You know, he
Yeah, I
brings
think so.
experience. You know, because our other two wide receivers outside of Jacoby are young.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'd be okay with that. You know, you bring them in at the league minimum at this point. You
Right.
know, the veteran
Exactly.
minimum. You know, so it just
And there's a talking about Raiders, just kind of news in general. I know it's kind of been shut down by oh my goodness, by Mark Davis recently, but Max Crosby, all of the trade rumors surrounding Max Crosby, and I know that he gets a lot of attention because he's one of the best players in the NFL. Um, do you think was actually any substance to any of those rumors, or were they just people wanting Max Crosby on their team? I know Max Crosby has always said he wants to stay a Raider. He wants to be a Raider. He said it multiple times, and I even posted it on my Instagram and all of my social media, saying like he wants to be a Raider. Guys, like stop trying to put all of this BS out there.
yeah.
What do you think about all these rumors surrounding him?
I think it was just people posting bullshit, just trying
Yeah,
to stir the pot. You know,
yeah.
already knew that um, Devontae wasn't happy there. So like, oh, who else? You know, let's make up a story about this. You know, say he's not
Mm-hmm.
happy there. He's never once ever come out and said that he's not happy being there. You know, this guy is a Raider through and through. And he even said it, and I knew this a few years ago when I first saw him get it. The guy's got the Raiders tattooed on his arm. You think he's gonna go play somewhere else? I
Exactly.
mean, unless we trade him away without him approving it, or we cut him. I mean, every player gets cut at some point.
Yeah,
Inevitably, it's going to happen with Max at some point, unless he steps away before it gets to that, like
yeah.
J.J. Watt did. J.J. Watt finally stepped. He stepped down. He still had a few years in him too. He
Mm-hmm.
could have played a few more years, J.J. Watt. I'd love to have
I
him
think
come
so
back
too.
right now. Imagine
Yeah.
him and Max. Oh, good God. That would be absolutely amazing to watch the two of them out there. You know, but I think it was all bullshit. I don't think there was any validity to any of that.
No, I
You
don't
know,
think so either.
I don't think it was any of his his posse or his crew saying, "Oh yeah, it's what I heard him say the other night." Absolutely not. I
Yeah.
don't believe a word of it. Not one. I'd have to hear it from his mouth first, saying, "Yeah, I definitely want to go."
Yeah, exactly.
He's refuted it every single time. So
Yeah. Let's see. Trading for T. Higgins here. This guy says we can possibly trade for T. Higgins. I mean,
yeah,
he's injured. He's going to be
he's
injured
another
for this
injury
week.
prone guy. I don't. I'm not. We don't. I don't want him.
He's been
I
a
don't want anybody
pretty
that's got any questions about them like that.
oh, for sure. He's been pretty good this season though. And then of course, keeping Max Crosby. Definitely don't want the Khalil Mack. Honestly, retrospectively, the Khalil Mack the whole trade and instance, I think we got a good return. We just didn't capitalize on
No,
what we got in return. I
and
mean, we got
that
Josh
was
Jacobs, but he's still not even on our team anymore.
yeah.
So
Mac was a fact of him and Gruden didn't get along. He didn't like the way that Gruden was going with the team.
mhm.
They barely talked, from what I've understood. They barely talked to each other, and he
Yeah.
wanted out of there. He didn't want to be there anymore. So
Mhm.
the first thing you want to do when you got a player that doesn't want to be there anymore, see you later. Let him go.
Yep.
Cut. Don't pull. Don't let them sit there and get something for them.
Yeah.
Don't pull what we did with Carr. What we did to Carr was a travesty. That was horrible the way that whole thing was handled.
Yeah, that
You
was
know,
so bad.
we basically sent him home and told him for the last 2 weeks of the season, don't even come around. We don't want you in the state in the facility,
Yeah.
because they didn't want to take a chance of him getting hurt, because then we'd have to pay him that guaranteed money.
Right.
So if he was in the gym working out and all of a sudden he pulls a muscle or breaks something, now we're on the hook for it because he got injured while he was still under contract with us.
Yep.
So that's, as long as he's not on the property, he gets hurt elsewhere, not our problem.
Yeah.
That's why that was done that way. And to bring in Jimmy Glass Slipper was ridiculous. That guy, that was a nightmare. That was probably one of the worst seasons I've ever had to sit through as a Raider fan. And I've been through some of our 2-win seasons, and
Uh-huh.
that one with McDaniels was absolutely atrocious. What how he was dealt was just pathetic.
I've been
Pathetic.
seeing people post that they want Jimmy G back.
Oh, they're stupid. They don't know football. Jimmy G is done. He's done. He's
Yeah.
never going to be a starter again. He was never really that good to begin with. Everybody's like, "Oh, he did really good in San Fran." Yeah, because
He's a
he had a
product of Kyle
freaking
Shanahan.
product of Cal Shanahan, and he had a hell of a defense.
Oh
So he
yeah.
didn't have to go out there and throw for get 30 points put up on the board on offense. He had a
Hmm.
defense that would score six, anywhere from a touchdown or two, and then the defense would just stuff the other team down. So I mean, yeah, the offense was great, but also at that point, you still had Debo Samuel was running the ball a hell of a lot.
Hmm.
He was being used as almost a running back more than he was a wide receiver at that point. Your whole offensive scheme was different. So yeah, Garoppolo was on a winning team and took him to the Super Bowl, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's still not that good,
Mm-mm.
And again, you don't have to be a superstar quarterback to get to the Super Bowl and win it. I mean, look at Flacco when he was in Baltimore and
Yeah.
won the Super Bowl. He didn't put up superstar stats. Even Brad Johnson, when he was the quarterback of
But
the Tampa
the
Bay,
Bucks. Uh-huh.
he wasn't putting up superstar numbers. And even
Nope.
if you look at, and here's a good one for you, check this one out. You go back and you look at Troy Aikman's stats.
Oh yeah.
He was a mediocre quarterback at best based on his stats.
Hmm.
All right. So, like, I used to play fantasy football all that. Well, I still do, but back in '91, was when we started
Yeah.
this league I was in. It was on the fire department I was on at the time. We had a fantasy football league we started, and some guys were just so adamant about getting Troy Aikman, and I didn't really realize it then. I wasn't a stat guy like I kind of am now, like or more in tune as to how players are and what their abilities are.
Right.
If you looked at his stats during during the Cowboys' heyday when they won those Super Bowls, his stats were not that great. He
Hmm.
was throwing for like an average of like 200 yards, no more than like 200, 250 yards. He didn't throw many 300-yard games.
Yeah.
He didn't have a ton of touchdowns. It was mostly a running game. If he threw touchdowns, it was long bombs to um, Michael Irvin or
Yep.
what's his name, Hopper. What the hell was that guy's name? The other wide receiver opposite of Irvin, one number 80. But that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
long, quick, deep passes, touchdown, boom, offense off the field.
Hmm.
So and he won Super Bowls, but he wasn't a superstar quarterback. He made the NFL Hall. He made the Hall of Fame based on his winning
Winning.
and his
Yeah.
his his the Super Bowls and his leadership, basically, because he was definitely the
Yeah.
leader of that team. There's no two ways
Oh
about it. I
yeah,
mean,
for sure.
so it's not like he wasn't putting up numbers like some quarterbacks do. So you don't have to have a superstar quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's doable. You just have to have a good defense. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I forgot. Jeff's one of my guys that I play Warcraft 3 with all the time, and he's a Cowboys fan. I don't hold that against him. So that's why he's like watching my mouth about Aikman. But
Uh-huh.
Jeff, I mean, tell me I'm wrong on Aikman's stats through his career. Yeah, they're not solid stats, dude. They're not solid. You got
Well,
somebody.
yeah.
You got some quarterbacks now in the NFL that are thrown for more yards than him, and they've been in the league less time than he was. So,
It
yeah,
helps
well, yeah,
having
that's the other thing. The offensive line in Dallas was a sick defense, sick offense.
exactly. It helps having two Hall of Famers at running back and receiver as well. You
Which is
know.
I'm gonna get them worked up. You ready for this? That's why I still say Barry Sanders by far is still the best running back in the NFL, other than Jim Brown, and that's because Emmett Smith had that offensive line that could open holes and he could run through them. Barry Sanders had a trash O line and trash talent around him
Yeah.
for most of his career in Detroit, and he made those plays himself. Emmett Smith
Yeah.
would be nothing without that offensive line. If you flip flop them and you put Barry Sanders in Dallas and you put Emmett Smith in Detroit, Emmett Smith would have been on the league in probably like about 6 years if you had to stay there his entire career. He would have been done in 6 years. Barry Sanders would have had about 20,000 something yards rushing because with that O line opening up the holes for him, that would have been a super easy career for him. He would have blown everybody away. So that's my take on Alex. Yeah, Jeff, what do you got?
Yeah, definitely send that to your favorite Cowboy fan. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Send that to your favorite Cowboy fan. But is there anything else you want to go ahead and you touch on? Anything Raiders related?
Um,
Oh, actually, I do have something.
Go
I
ahead.
do. Talking about Josh McDaniels earlier. I know a lot of people went ahead and tore Mark Davis apart for choosing Josh McDaniels. I do think that Mark Davis did what he believed was actually going to be beneficial for the Raiders. Josh McDaniels, every year that he's not a head coach, looks like one of the best coaches in the entire NFL. And so I get why he chose him. I mean, just looking at his track record in Denver, though, as a head coach, you probably could have said, hey, let's, stay off him. But another New England Patriots personnel person, I guess now, is coming over to the Raiders and Tom Brady. Tom Brady commanded those New England Patriots offenses for almost his entire career. How are we feeling about Tom Brady coming over to the Las Vegas Raiders?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me this. I had a feeling you were going to bring it up, especially with me being from New England area. Well,
Exactly. I
first,
couldn't pass
Alejandro,
it
how
up.
you doing, buddy? I see Alejandro. What's up, man?
What's up,
Um,
man?
okay. My take on Brady. I know some people around here are going to be surprised at what I'm going to say.
All right.
But
Before you say anything, because I think it's going to be rather uh, bad, Tom
no,
Brady's
it's
the
not.
GOAT. Tom Brady is
Huh?
the GOAT. Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Are you saying that yourself? You're calling him that?
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Oh, man, I'm going to
And
second guess doing
I
this
I
show with
used to
you.
be a hater. I used to hate Tom Brady, but I
I
mean,
still
it's really hard to not see all of his success and be like, I still hate the guy. I mean, I guess for in your instance, considering where you're at and everybody is probably super obnoxious over there, I can see why you would for sure. But
yeah, yeah,
over
they are.
here, I mean, you look at his all of his success, and I mean, he's kind of the goat. He's definitely up there at least.
All right. So my take. All right. First of all, so you're really in favor of him?
I I really like Tom Brady. Like I said, I used to hate Tom Brady, but I really like Tom Brady.
I wish you would have told me that before we started planning on doing the show together because I don't think I would have. I won't hold it against you. All right. So my take on this. First of all, fuck Tom Brady. I hate him as a player when he was here in New England and when he was in Tampa. Alejandro, I hate everybody.
I feel that completely
Um,
too.
in the position he's going to be in as an owner of the team, if it puts us, I don't want to say this, if it gets us to get ourselves or get this team in the right direction and take some advice from him, obviously not don't do any of that Patriot way bullshit that McDaniels tried bringing when he was here. People
Yeah,
would say, "Oh, that's not what he's doing." Yeah, it is. That's what he was doing.
yeah.
The only thing that McDaniels did good for us was bring Jacoby over. Other than that, you can go shit in the hat.
I mean, Devonte
Uh,
Adams for the first year. That's really
that
it.
wasn't him though.
That was it was
Was it McDaniels still there?
it was
No,
the GM. Yeah, it was I can't remember what his name is right now. Oh my god. Uh
Ziegler.
yeah, Dave Ziegler. Yeah, they traded him.
Or maybe
They traded
before
for Devontae.
we got here. I don't know. These last few years have all blended together for the Raiders. It's just one shitty season after another. Um, so as far as what he brings to the table, again, he comes from a winning culture. He knows what it takes to win. This is hurtful for me to say this. I- it could be possibly a good thing. All
Mhm.
right. I know some of my New England club members are going to be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But I'm saying it. I don't think it's that bad of a thing.
Hmm.
Um, the capacity he's going to be in, he's only a 5% shareholder. So how much influence is he going to have? I
Hmm.
think he's going to have influence just out of respect of who he is and what he's
Right.
done in this league.
Right.
So I don't really have a negative thing about him coming over other than just don't do the Patriot way bullshit. Don't
Yeah.
spend don't
Yeah.
try and
Same.
stop that shit here. And I
Yeah.
think he realizes that that's not going to fly.
Hmm.
Now, as far as him becoming a part owner, I think it was only inevitable before it was going to happen because he was already part owner of the WNBA Aces team
Yeah.
with
The
Mark.
Aces team. Right.
So I'm sure it was only a matter of time before he wanted to get in here. And it's a smart money move for him because this team's making money with it.
Oh,
There's
for
no
sure.
ways about it. I mean, they own the stadium.
Hmm.
The team owns the stadium. So anything that goes on in that stadium that's not football, they're making money.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, that wasn't happening in Oakland.
No.
That stadium was not beneficial for the team. Did I hate to see them leave Oakland? Oh hell yeah, because that's
Yeah.
where we belong. But the
Hmm.
city wasn't going to do anything as far as getting us a new stadium. So I mean, for a business aspect, he made the right move coming to Vegas. Now he's bringing in somebody like Brady to take part ownership, and don't forget, Seymour is part of that ownership too, Richard Seymour.
Yeah. Richard Seymour.
So that brings another guy that knows what it takes to win.
Hmm.
Because
Former
one thing
Patriot, former
Seymour,
Raider.
yeah, for Seymour has a different. Seymour, I think, hits different than Brady because he was a Raider. He
Yeah.
did play for us for a while.
Hmm.
And here's a guy that I thought, or I felt how he played and his aggressiveness. He's a guy that should have been a Raider from day one out of the
Yeah.
college. He would have been. He's one of those guys. There's a few out there that come through the rank, come through football every now and then that you look at them and go, that guy should have been a Raider from day one. Bill Romanowski's another one.
Oh, yeah.
Should have been a Raider from day one, without a doubt. Um, Tom Rathman always struck me as a guy that should have been a Raider from day one, a running back from uh, San Francisco. That's
Hmm.
another guy. He just had that tough, gritty nastiness about him.
Yeah.
But Seymour is definitely one of those guys that I felt that should have been a Raider from day one.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm not upset that they got involved in the ownership. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm not upset. Um, I don't like Brady. I'm not a fan of him. As a player, I
Uh.
hated him with a passion. Um, I hated the whole tuck rule bullshit. How he didn't admit until recently that it was a fumble.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that show, that 30 for 30 with
30
him
for
and
30 with Charles Woodson.
yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah.
I thought that was
It
awesome.
was great. Yeah. It was great.
You know, I love Woodson. Woodson's awesome.
Oh, how can you not?
You know, but being from New England and just having to deal with all the Brady commercials and all the TB12 bullshit and the let's
Yeah.
fucking go bullshit too. That
Uh.
I'm tired of hearing that crap too.
Yeah.
So growing up, not growing up, but living here as an adult, having to deal with that, it was painful because I know how the Patriots used to be before they got good.
Yeah. They
They
were
couldn't even
not
give
good.
tickets away
Yeah.
years ago. They would give tickets away and nobody would take them because they were just that god awful. Um, but when they got good, everybody came out of the woodwork. And when they would have a bad season, if they didn't make the playoffs, it's like the jerseys get put away. They bring out the Red Sox
Oh,
jerseys,
yep.
or they bring out the Celtics, and
The
the Patriots
Bruins.
stuff gets
The
tucked away till next football season.
Yep.
Raiders fans, Raiders fans, that gear never gets put away.
Oh, never. Never.
I wear it all year long.
Me too.
Whether
Yeah.
it's a T-shirt or even this baseball jersey with the Raiders, my hat, I'll wear this during the summer sometimes. I'll throw it on just for the hell of
Hmm.
it. So
Yep.
it's like the Patriots, it's like they put their stuff away. Like we call them pink hatters around here. They wear it when it's appropriate, you
Yeah.
know. But I'm okay with Brady being there. It's not wearing on me like I thought it would. At first, I was like, no, 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 no. But
Hmm.
yeah, getting back to McDaniels though, real quick.
Yeah.
His time in Denver should have been the number one telltale sign that he was not the coach for us. Couldn't
Yep.
do it in Denver. He's a good offensive coordinator. I'll give him that because I've
Hmm.
seen it firsthand
Yeah.
here being in New England. The Patriots had some of their best runs when he was handling the offense, calling the offensive plays. But as a head coach, he sucks. Sucks.
Yeah.
He's absolutely horrible as a head coach.
Yeah. Watching clips from when he was in Denver, he was trying to emulate Bill Belichick. But you just don't have that respect that
You can't
Belichick
do it.
does.
Yeah.
You don't have, yeah, you're just not you. If you try to be Bill Belichick, you're not him. And I feel like he didn't even learn that enough in Denver, and he tried to do the same things here in Las Vegas, and
Mm-hmm.
it of course didn't work again. So, but also my take on the Tom Brady thing is he I think he's actually going to have more say than what a lot of people think. I think that Mark Davis respects him just as like a football mind, probably more than what most people do,
Mm-hmm.
considering his success. So I think he's going to have a lot of pull, behind the curtain. I think I've already seen people say, "Oh, Tom Brady's first call as part owner was to Bill Belichick. Hey, what is your interest in coming back and to coaching this team?" And I don't know about bringing Bill Belichick, but I mean, I think Tom Brady is going to have a lot of pull behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
I definitely don't want that. I
No.
don't think Belichick's going to do. I think Belichick's time has come and gone.
Yeah, I think so too. But
I
I also think he realizes that too.
yeah,
Because he has a podcast with Max Crosby, and I watch it periodically. And I think he understands that. But he's a great football mind as well. Don't get me wrong. If he
oh
ever
yeah,
wants
no, I
to
agree with that. I
like
mean,
come in and
he's one of the best coaches ever.
yeah,
I mean, do I think he's like a Lombardi? No, different time, different era.
yeah,
He learned to adapt to the era that that the current NFL is in.
hmm
And I think he did a great job with what he had. I mean, he made that one bold move by putting Brady in there when Bledsoe
when
got
Bledsoe
hurt
went
and,
down.
and never turning around and never looking back. Bledsoe
Yep.
lost his job. That was it.
hmm
You know, but I just to have him come here and coach us. No, no. I don't know who our next head coach should be. Do I still think we need to give AP another year? Yeah, I'm
Yeah, me too.
he's only had what 7 games as an interim head coach. He's 8 games into 8 games. What are we at? Week 8?
Yeah, this will be
Yeah.
9.
So he's 8 games into this season, with a coordinator that sucks ass big time.
Terrible.
Um, I mean, they did good in the draft. I really think we
Yeah.
had a decent draft.
hmm
I like JP.
Yeah,
I,
me
I
too.
think that, I mean, I forget what game it was earlier this year. One of the refs had to tell him to stop being so aggressive. If I hear a ref saying that to an offensive lineman, that's my kind of guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm an offensive lineman at heart. I mean, I played that in high school. I played that in semi-pro. I played center in semi-pro football, and
hmm
I'm a big fat old lineman. I love my old lineman. So when I hear a ref saying that to a guard, saying you need to be less aggressive, no, he doesn't. He needs to stay just like that. He needs to be aggressive. That's what
Yeah.
you need. You need a player that is just vicious from the snap until the whistle's blown. That's all.
Yes.
I don't care
Yes.
about anything else. You
hmm
know. So you need that mentality out. And this is what AP is trying to instill in this team is to get that
Yep.
fire back in. Do I
Yep.
still have hope for the team? I do, obviously. For this season, our season's done. I mean, we're 2-6.
hmm
We're at the bottom of the division. The Broncos, who I thought were going to be absolutely trash this year, are 5-3.
Yeah.
They look. I hate to say it, they look good. The Chargers are still the Chargers. They could make the playoffs, and they're going to lose.
Yeah.
They always. It's why we call them the chokers. They always choke at the end of the season, regardless. And KC is going to be KC.
Yeah.
Those 3 teams will. 2 of them may possibly make the playoffs. KC for sure. They're in the
Yeah.
playoffs. There's no ways
For
about
sure.
it. Will they win the Super Bowl this year? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think Baltimore's got a legit shot this year against them. I don't think Buffalo's going to compete with them. Cincinnati's out. They're not like they used to be. Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'm glad we played Baltimore when we did,
Yeah, same.
because if we were to play them now, they would absolutely embarrass the living shit out of us. We'd be
Yep.
trash.
Yep.
They're playing so much better now than they were in week 2. And
Mhm.
I think that is a factor of they've got more time working together as a team.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, it was week 2. This was only the second game that they had Derrick Henry running the ball for them.
Mhm.
The offense was still kind of trying to gel together.
Right.
The defense wasn't that great. I mean, we beat them, so obviously the defense wasn't that great, but they have
Uh-huh.
been lights out since that game.
Yes.
So they've been a tough, tough team. I would pick them as my favorite right now in the AFC. I really would. I don't see anybody else beating them.
Yeah.
Not even the
And
Chiefs. The
to
Chiefs are
kind of
beatable.
to use that same kind of thing for the Raiders, like it is week number 8 and the offense hasn't improved since even week number 2 when we did play against the Ravens. So it's kind of like, all right, we've had 8 weeks to try and improve this offense and we still haven't. It's kind of like we are where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like this all comes down to Luke Getzey. Again, I know we continue to talk about him, but
I'm like a
I
broken
think
record.
yeah, exactly. And I think coaching the only coach that's out there that I would be okay with if we do fire Antonio Pierce after this season would be Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. He is
He
one
ain't
of
going
the
anywhere.
best. No, I don't think so either. But that is definitely on my wish list. Like if he comes over to the Raiders, I think that will bring a completely different dynamic to this team. And
I'll say this now. I like the Ben Johnson. That's a good observation. I like
mhm,
that a lot. But I don't see him leaving Detroit
I don't
unless
either.
they win a Super Bowl. If they win a Super Bowl, then I think he will move. He will take a chance to go and be a head coach somewhere else.
I think it's
He's not gonna.
plausible that they do.
Yeah, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna leave until they do that, because he still has business to finish there. He's
Hmm.
still got an
Yeah,
unfinished job,
yeah,
and that's his goal too, is to win a Super Bowl with
yeah.
that team, because they've got a really good team.
A
They're
very good
impressive.
team.
I
Yes,
like it. I mean, come on, they put up what 54 points this weekend, and golf only throws 54 yards.
yeah, it's
I mean,
crazy.
Jesus. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a team put up that many points and a quarterback throw for less than 100 yards. Sucked if he's on your fantasy team, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
You expect him, when you see the score and you haven't checked the stats, you look at the score going, oh my God, he must have had like 4 touchdowns. Then you look at it and go, what the fuck? Hey, only 84 yards? I mean, come on, you know? So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
gonna kick you right in the teeth, you know? So yeah,
Yeah.
I like the Ben Johnson. I'm all for that,
Hmm.
but I still want to give AP another year.
Yeah, I
I
believe
think
so
it's
as
too
well.
soon. I think it's too soon to get rid of AP.
Yeah,
Getsy,
after
Getsy can go 2 days ago for all I care.
honestly, he needs to go literally, like you said, 2 days ago.
I think
But
it's about support
after
him.
Antonio Pierce's initial, interim head coach press conference, him, going up there to the podium saying he's a Raider, he was born a Raider, he's from LA. They know what it takes to be. He knows what it takes to be a Raider head coach. What I was sold then, and I still really like Antonio Pierce. He is a brand new head coach. Like you said, he's only has a few handful of games underneath his belt, and I think I really like what he did, surrounding himself with former head coaches.
Hmm.
He brought in Marvin Lewis, Tom Coughlin during training camp was there.
Yeah, as an
Um,
advisor.
yeah, and I really like what he's trying to do. I think that just the the absolute miss at offensive coordinator is absolutely killing us because we hired Cliff Kingsbury, and Cliff Kingsbury is looking absolutely insane with Jaden Daniels at quarterback in Washington. If we were able to get Cliff Kingsbury, I think this entire season is completely different.
Well, you know the whole story behind that, right?
Uh,
The real story behind Cliff Kingsbury, why he didn't come with us.
we weren't gonna trade up for Jaden
Uh,
Daniels or Caleb
it's not so
Williams.
much that we weren't going to. Nobody wanted to trade with us. It's not like we
Mm,
didn't try to move up because we definitely
right.
tried moving up, but nobody was
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
The ones that had those top two picks, the Bears and the Redskins, I still call them the Redskins. They
That's
weren't gonna
cool.
they weren't gonna they weren't gonna not make those picks. They knew who they wanted because
Yeah.
they needed to have them. So we
Hmm.
had no shot at either one of those two. There was nothing that we could have offered them to say, okay, yeah, we'll do it. So we
Agreed.
had no shot. So as soon as he saw like, oh, well, you're not going to draft one of the top quarterbacks, so that means I'm left with O'Connell and Minshew. Nah, see you later. I'm good.
Yeah.
And then hightailed it out of Vegas and went to Washington, and
Yep.
it's paid off. I mean, Washington looks good. They're
It
leading
has.
the AFC East. I mean, the NFC
Them
East.
ceased.
You
Yeah.
know, they're going to win that division at this rate. The Eagles don't look like the Eagles of old either.
Mm-mm.
There's another team
No.
that's fallen off drastically.
Oh, big
And
time.
they got Barkley in there, Saquon.
Saquon. Yeah.
So you would think they would have been even better, like just totally dominate the NFC, and they're not.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that they're not
Yep.
winning games. They're still winning games. They still look good, but they're still not the same team they were in the past. I think losing
Yeah.
Kelsey at center hurts them too.
Oh, definitely it
He,
does.
he was the heart of that offense for sure.
Yeah.
And I like Jason Kelsey.
So do I.
Travis can go shit in a hat. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
Him and his chick that's with him too. I won't even say her name because I don't want to give her any credit.
All right. Yeah, any last things you want to touch on? Anything
Uh,
else?
I think we pretty much I think this was a pretty good show tonight.
Yeah,
You know?
I liked it. I had fun. Honestly, I hope everybody else did who
What do you
came
think,
in.
Jeff? How long have you been in the channel? I didn't see what time you joined. You having a good time? Are you still there? Nah, you're not.
Well, we got two more people left in here. So
Yeah, we were up to like 4, I think. We're up to like
yeah, I've
4
seen that.
or 5.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone who joined in. This will be posted on my YouTube channel because we're obviously going live off here. But go ahead and plug your whatever you got going on your socials. Go ahead and tell everybody else.
Yeah, I've already posted the link for the
Oh, I
YouTube
see it right
channel.
here.
Yep.
Mhm.
At any_Raider boosters. That's our YouTube channel. There are the links on there. If you go to that channel and look under the links, you'll see our link for TikTok, for Instagram, for X. And I don't know if I have the Facebook one on there, but we do have a private Facebook group. But if you apply, and I'm usually the one that accepts you, I'll let you right in there. So follow us, like, subscribe, whatever you
Yep.
need to do.
Yep.
We plan on doing this show once a week. I
Mhm.
guess we're going to do it on Wednesdays. Wednesday works for me.
Yeah, I think that would be best considering it's midweek. We can
Yeah.
review it still, and then we
Yeah, it
can go
gives
ahead
us
and
like
still
a few
look
days
forward.
before and a few
Yep,
days after. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and then obviously all of my stuff is at LB Raider 10. I got Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of the socials. Go ahead and follow me there. But yeah, thank you everybody. Anything last you want to say?
I had a blast. This was good. I think it went very well. I mean, we
I think so as
covered
well.
everything we needed to cover on the game last week and the upcoming game.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, when we're here next week, we're talking about how good we looked when we won the game. Right?
Yes. Also, I forgot to touch on that. I will be in
Oh yeah, that's
Cincinnati.
right.
So, if anybody wants to go ahead and if anybody wants to go ahead and shoot some content with me, if anybody, I will be go ahead and I will be talking to some Raider fans. Hopefully, I can find some Ohio Raider fans. Ask them,
Yeah.
how'd you guys come out here and become Raider fans? That's what I want to ask you. Actually, talk about a little bit about how you became a Raider fan.
Me? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm old school. I'm
Mm-hmm.
obviously get tell by the gray hairs. I'm not a kid. Hey Callista, how you doing? I became a fan back in like '76.
Mm-hmm.
Off of one of our Super Bowl wins, and that's pretty much. I saw that Super Bowl, and I remember watching that game, and I remember saying to my dad, I'm like, again, I was like 6 years old. I'm like, who are these guys? These guys
Yeah.
in the pirate thing on the helmet, the silver helmets. He
Uh-huh.
goes, those are the Raiders. He goes, we don't like them. I said, why not? It's like that whole good versus evil thing. And I
Uh-huh.
just remember watching that game and just I fell in love with the Raiders and just the whole mystique of the team, the way they look, the grittiness. I mean, they look like they just rolled out of bed and jumped on the field and started playing, which we all know Stable used to pretty much do that.
Basically, huh?
Yeah, so that's kind of where I started. So I've gotten to see them win two Super Bowls.
Mhm.
I mean, the 76 one, yeah, I saw it, but it wasn't like fully etched in my memory. Like I could, recite things that happened in that game.
Yeah.
But the one against the Eagles, I know that one well. I
Mhm.
saw that one as it was happening and fully understood everything going on. At that point, I was already 11 years old, so I had a better grip on what football was.
Right.
And then the one in '83, I mean, everybody knows about that one, how just awesome that game was from start to finish.
Yep.
The fact that, we played so well in that game and it was a team that beat us earlier in the season and we came back and blew them out in the Super Bowl. Nobody expected us to win that game,
Mhm.
So, I mean, so I go way back as to being a Raider fan and how I came about was just, you know, it's that group of people that are fans that are my age. That's usually the same experience they had that I had. I
Right.
have. It's seeing them for the first time in the '70s when they would just run up and punch somebody in the mouth like Big Ben Davidson. I mean, he thought nothing about clothesline or ripping helmets off, and you could get away with that shit. Now you'd get
Yeah.
thrown out of the game without, there's no warning. Like this is your first one, you get thrown out.
Oh, for sure.
So that's when football was really football, when guys could play and could hit. But
Mhm.
those older players, they're taking a toll. They took a toll on them, and they're paying for it now. A lot
Right.
of these guys have, some of them can't even walk. Some are just
Mhm.
so messed up from it. Which is understandable. I get it. It's making the game safer and everything, but it also, I think, it lessens it a little bit. But
A tad, yeah.
yeah, how did you become a Raider fan?
Yeah, so I mean, I was born into it. My dad is a huge Raider fan. He's been one his
Nice.
entire life. It's because we're from LA, so when he was younger, they were the LA Raiders, and they had just moved to LA, and he was a Raider fan ever since. So, just him being a huge Raider fan, watching it every Sundays, growing up in my house, watching the Raider game was every Sunday.
Yeah,
We gotta watch it. We can't not. So I was born into it. Um, and I love the Raiders still, obviously now.
yeah.
And and like you're saying, I'm I'm a historian of the game. I love the history of the game, and Raiders are one of the most, successful franchises. I mean, maybe not anymore, but
No,
um,
not currently.
yeah, not currently. But they're one of the best franchises in this league, and it's hard to. I think everybody understands that as a fan. Uh, like you said earlier, Raider fans don't put away their stuff like throughout
No.
the entire year, and you know even here in LA, there's still one of the biggest fan bases for the Raiders in Los
Oh
Angeles,
yeah,
considering even though there's two other NFL teams here, like you see it every time they go to SoFi and they play a game. The Raiders fans outnumber the Rams and the Chargers all the time. So,
yeah.
being here and with their already big community of Raider fans, it's great. It's fun.
See, for you were lucky on that aspect because you grew up where they were playing.
Mhm.
For me, being in New England growing up, the only time we ever got to really see the Raiders on TV around here was if they were in the playoffs,
Mhm.
or very rarely if they played the Patriots for whatever reason, then it would be on
Right.
TV around here.
Yeah.
So we really never got to see them play until recently,
Mhm.
on the TV on a regular basis because Sunday Ticket, when they were
Right.
good, they were on TV a lot. Monday night
Mhm.
was huge. Like when
Yeah.
we were really good back in like the '70s and '80s and very early '90s, we had the winningest record on Monday Night Football
No.
at one point. We won more games on Monday night than anybody else. We had the best winning percentage on Monday nights.
Mhm.
But we don't get many Monday night games anymore because we're not an interesting team to put on TV, which is why I'm
Exactly.
surprised
Yeah.
we're getting the Black Friday game, you
Yeah.
know, which I wish that by it being a Black Friday game, we could also do a color rush thing. where we
Oh, I
wear
know.
black helmets, black jerseys, black
That'd be
pants,
so
but
dope.
we're playing in KC.
Yeah.
You know, that's if we were playing at home, we should have been allowed to wear all black. You
Yeah.
know, and I honestly feel that after this season, if they're going to keep doing these Black Friday games, that should be our game. That
I
should
was
be
thinking
our
the
game
same thing.
every year, just like how the Cowboys and the Lions have Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
We should get that Black Friday, but it's a home game for us every year on the Friday after Thanksgiving. It should be us.
Yep.
That's
I
my
think
thing.
so as
And we
well.
should be wearing all black. I still want us to come out in an all black uniform. Why we haven't done that yet? Every other goddamn team in this league is trying to make money off of black jerseys and black
Yeah.
helmets and everything else black. Everybody knows the color black on uniforms sells.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know,
Yeah.
totally sells. Now all
Yeah.
of a sudden everybody's coming out with their black jersey, like the Cardinals. They got those
Hmm.
black jerseys with the red highlights. They
Yeah.
look cool. You
Yeah.
know, can
They
you
do.
imagine us wearing black jerseys, black pants, and a black helmet?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that'd be super badass.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
well, I don't know why we're not doing that either. You know, anything to spark some interest in this team again, some life, and
Yeah.
just
Uh,
hope and make you feel good about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's painful. If you want to call it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm old. I don't have a lot of years left. I mean, it's already been 40 years since the last Super Bowl. I want to see one more before I go. You know, I'm no spring chicken. I'm going to be 55 in May. You know, 40 years of my life since the last Super Bowl that we won. I'm not even talking about the one we were in 2000 against the big,
Against John Gruden.
big Pirates. Yeah, it wasn't even his team. It was Tony Dungy's team. He took
Yeah,
over.
exactly.
He didn't do anything to change that team.
Well, that's what a good play caller does for your team. That is example one right there.
Yep.
And what a bad play caller does for our team, just watch our games. That's yeah.
Yeah, it's share our pain.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining again. We're looking to do this every week. Thank you guys. Appreciate everybody.
Yeah, this was a good time. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. And Nathan, I'll talk to you before you take off for Cincinnati. But if I don't, for whatever reason, you have a good time in Cincinnati and be careful out there.
Yep,
From
definitely.
crazy
Thank you.
Bengals fans.
All right, everyone. Thank you.